So these are the scenes that we're seeing in Donald Trump's America. Basically, ICE, without warrants, are going to people's homes and arresting them. You can see it right there. We've seen this, unfortunately, far too often in Donald Trump's America. And for Trump and his people, they want you to get used to this stuff and think that it's normal. They can just come to your house without a warrant. That's what Trump and his people want you to think. I'll tell you guys, it's not normal. And we got this from the Washington Post today. They said ICE memo. This is from ICE. They're kind of their policy. They say ICE memo allows agents to enter homes without a judge's warrant. That's what ICE is telling their people. A memo allegedly signed by the Immigration and Customs Enforcement acting director in May instructs agents and officers that they can enter a person's home to arrest them without a judicial warrant. This should alarm everyone. This should alarm everyone, right? ICE is telling their people, go and arrest people without a warrant. The whistleblower complaint is here. It basically comes from a couple of government employees that said, hey, I saw this thing, and it came out a couple weeks ago. You can see it right there. And now they're basically calling for a full investigation. My thoughts on this stuff, any of this stuff, is get the names of everyone involved with these things, and there will be hell to pay. I want to make that really clear. Yeah, I mean, you see the stuff that they're doing. They're going after children, right? And who's signing off on this stuff? Get everyone's name. Get everyone on the record and stuff. Do a full investigation of these things. ICE agents in Minnesota detained at least 4 children from the same school district, including a 5-year-old, deepening skepticism about the Trump administration's claims of targeting violent criminals, right? So that's why Trump today, they use fake photos all the time. They make false claims. They just lie after lie after lie. And then get to the point now is like, okay, we don't even need warrants anymore. We'll just go arrest whoever we want. Now they're going after children. This should alarm everyone. And I know it's hard, guys. I really know. Like people say, Chris, I got MAGA people in my life. You know, they just glued to Fox News nonstop. And it's like, oh yeah, go get all the criminals, etc. And this the key. The without warrant stuff. That means they it doesn't even matter anymore at this point. This is arrest whoever they want. It's insane, and there's going to be hell to pay. I promise you. Let me show you this also. Even Fox News is showing recent poll numbers, because I just have to show you guys these things from them. This is from Fox. They say Democrats hold a slight advantage heading into the midterm elections in a new poll. The New York Times and Siena University, with 48% of registered voters saying they would have supported a Democrat, and you got 43 for Republicans. So clearly the majority doesn't like Trump, but who the heck are these 43%? It's so insane. It should be 0. I mean, it's just ask any regular person on the street. And that's why you have to just put them in the most basic terms. Do you want Trump to just come to your house without a warrant and just randomly take whoever they want? That's essentially what we're talking about here. And it's crazy anyone would go along with this. And you have to put on top of this. And I want to put these two things together because learn from history. So first it says, talking about the airlines. Like, why are we talking about the airlines? Well, read the chyron here. It says, potentially historic winter storm. Okay, and then the airlines are basically saying travel warning, et cetera. So there's going to be a massive, blizzard. And it's been like this up in the upper Midwest for a while, but now it's going to hit most of the country. The reason why I'm bringing up the weather is that when you pull out this kind of crap, you do it in really bad weather. You do it at, odd times of the day, the middle of the night, these kind of things, because you hope that no one notices. You hope that people don't go protest. You hope that people don't care to protect their neighbors. Right? This is not by mistake that you pick like a really cold or really cold states. You go to Minnesota recently. Now, I think it was just yesterday, ICE is now going to Maine. I mean, these are like the coldest parts of the country, and you're doing it the coldest time of the year. I know I mention this stuff all the time, but learn from history. This is a movie, 1987. Please check it out. It's a Korean history. But basically what it is, it's about a protester who gets killed. And then essentially the government tries to cover it up. And then it's about the investigation of, who's on board with this cover up, et cetera. When do regular people decide to pay attention and like, hey, I got to do something about this. Democracy matters. I can't express enough. Like we've seen this stuff before in history, or this one is about a military coup that happens like the coldest day of the year in the middle of the night. It's the same exact kind of stuff that the Trump people are pulling. It's called 12 the Day. The movie is called 1987. I know I always recommend them. You probably get tired of me saying it, but just if you haven't seen them, please do, because don't think that this stuff hasn't happened before. It has. You learn from history. Do not repeat the mistakes of the past. This is Dave Min. He has something to say about this. Have a watch.
It's Congressman Dave Min, and what we have seen out of Minneapolis the last few weeks has just been horrific. Detaining 5-year-olds, pulling seniors out of their homes in their underwear in freezing cold weather, murdering people who are in ICE detention, a memo apparently that to instructing ICE agents to raid and break into people's homes without a warrant, ramming of cars intentionally and then arresting U.S. citizens claiming that they weaponized their vehicles. This is just outrageous. It's systematically illegal, and it's terrifying our communities. It has to stop. That is why I'm voting hell no on the upcoming ICE DHS funding bill. Enough is enough. We need accountability. We need guardrails. ICE is out of control, and they need to be held to account.
Basically, what they're talking about today is like, okay, how can we fight back? At least in Congress, people are trying to defund ICE. That's what's going on right now. Representative Min actually did a good job of laying all of it. I know it's hard to talk about all these things. People are dying in detention. They're just shooting people on the street. They're arresting children, old people.
Today is not about ICE funding. Republicans already gave ICE $75 billion. Today is about the fact that we have a mass paramilitary force terrorizing our communities. Republicans had the opportunity in this bill to enact common sense checks on ICE operations. They refused. First, they refused to ensure ICE abides by the same laws and procedures as our local and state police, that they're unmasked when on duty, that they actually wear the body cameras, that they wear a nameplate identifying who they are, and that they are held responsible for excessive force.
I just want you guys to see all this because it's important to document everything, and important to know who's on, who's going to be on the right side of history. It's the easiest way to say it, because the way the ICE people try to do it, or Trump people, like they're literally, covering up their faces. They don't show their names, right? But there's going to be records on all of this stuff. These people need to be held accountable. Here's more. This is something the White House did recently where they arrested one of the protesters at a church. If you guys saw this. And then they used a AI-generated photo to make it seem like the person was crying. This person says, the latest on Nikema Levi Armstrong's arrest: left, fake picture shared by the White House; right, real picture. Armstrong's attorney says Nikema was composed, calm, and rational, and there was no one crying. And then the photo on the right, even Kristi Noem shared that one also. This is actually from a right-wing person, so we may disagree on stuff, but this is what they say. It's from Brad. Brad says, I support this woman's arrest, but this is unacceptable and may actually hurt their case in court. And someone else is writing, the White House is now posting AI doctored photos as if they're real. And any of these kind of stuff. And I always just try to have honest and real conversations with you guys. Like, just for just average person on the street, do you want to give Trump the power that his agents can come to your house without a warrant, right? No warrant, and just start detaining people and stuff like that? It's a real problem, right? Or manipulate photos to make it look like you did things that you never did. That's a really serious problem.
Right now in Minneapolis, we have thousands of ICE agents going through the city, not with warrants, but just at random, grabbing people who may be people of color and saying, where are your papers? Where are your papers? Where have we heard that before? Where in history have we heard, where are your papers? That's what's going on right now in Minneapolis. And ICE, under the direction of Kristi Noem, has completely gone off the rails, and it is violating the basic rights of American citizens.
And I just always wanted to tell you that you're not alone. Other people can see it too. Members of Congress can see it also. And this is what we're talking about. It's like, one way to fight ICE is to defund them, right? That's what they're saying here.
I rise in opposition to the Department of Homeland Security funding bill. I cannot support funding for a department that has shown repeated disregard for the Constitution, the rule of law, and the safety of the people it is supposed to protect. Let me remind the American people and this body Every member of Congress has sworn an oath to uphold the Constitution, and that means all aspects of it. The Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the rights of due process, the rights of unwarranted search and seizure. But we are failing at this moment because ICE is terrorizing the American people and violating constitutional rights every single day.
And it's getting worse and it's expanding. That's why we have to talk about it. I know there's a lot to go over. I know sometimes people don't like to hear this stuff, but you really need to stand up on this stuff. So what else is happening? Trump, basically everyone who's a criminal is now saying, hey, Trump, will you give me a pardon kind of stuff. A billionaire known as, quote, Bitcoin Jesus was under indictment for massive criminal tax fraud and very likely going to prison. Then he hired, quote, a friend of Trump and criminal charges disappear. Right, great. And that's essentially how Trump's game is played, right? If you're a criminal or you have any sort of problems, just give a bunch of money and, oh, wow, magically go away. You're seeing this already reported today. Archegos Bill Wong requests pardon for massive fraud that cost banks $10 billion, right? Please pardon me, Trump, because I know that you like to give pardons to criminals. Or Theranos, Elizabeth Holmes, asks Trump to commute prison sentence. U.S. Justice Department's website shows the disgraced former CEO petitioned Donald Trump over fraud conviction. I mean, what do you expect from a felon president? And then, unfortunately, I know it's not fun to talk about what's going on, but I got to tell you the truth. House passes DHA funding bill despite Democratic opposition over ICE. And I'll just tell you guys, your names, your people who are voting for this stuff, people who are signing off on these warrantless, basically going to your house, arresting people. We're going to remember who you are. And even though the ICE people now are walking around with masks and stuff like that, there's going to be a paper trail. We're going to figure out who every single one of these people are.